Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. We are back after the World Series, and as we're winding down the 5th season of Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, we welcome you on in. We got lots to talk about today. Find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And our website with the cool Fanatics link that will let you get all kinds of gear, especially even if you lost the World Series, there's gear on there for you. And that's siblingrivalrybb.com. Yeah, lots to talk about, but not really anything important. I was like thinking, oh yeah, we're going to talk about the World Series today. And then I started seeing this slew of transactions, qualifying offers, who's a free agent, people already making trades. And I thought, everybody knows who won the World Series. Why do we need to talk about that?
Because the Dodgers won. That's why we got to talk about it.
Only because you want to talk about it. That's right. As Jack Flaherty wore a T-shirt, said "Job finished," which was a play off of something they took from Kobe Bryant after the job's not finished yet. He said that after the second game in one of the finals. I don't remember. I think 2009. And and so they adopted that. He was part of the triad of motivation for the Dodgers this postseason. Kirk Gibson, Fernando Valenzuela, and Kobe Bryant. At present, Kirk Gibson is still living.
Yes.
Anyway, yes. If you haven't heard, if you live under a rock like me, then you didn't realize that the Dodgers won the World Series. That's right, breaking this long drought of, 3 years since the last one? 4 years since the last one?
Obviously, there's been a lot of flack about the 2020 World Series, and that it's a Mickey Mouse World Series. It doesn't count. It was 60 games, 60-game season.
It was scripted.
Exactly. It was all of that. And then for the Dodgers to win the World Series this year in a 162-game season, it erases that notion that's all that they're able to do is a 60-game season championship.
Well, but the only way for them to win 162-game season championship is if they go out and they buy it.
Sure. They
bought it. They bought it. They stole players from other teams. They overpaid.
How did they steal players?
And don't you read Twitter?
Twitter. That's stupid. Didn't they play the team that has the highest payroll in the New York Yankees?
They did. And they played a couple of teams that people think were better than the Yankees.
Yeah.
And they beat them too. They beat the most solid team. I think everybody admits, even the Dodgers admit,
yes,
probably the best team that they met up with the whole playoffs were the Padres.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. As much as I do not like the Padres, when you look at the series as a whole, the whole postseason as a whole, the Padres, those were, the competitive games were as back and forth. Obviously, there were some games where it was a little lopsided, but for the most part,
But more than any other
and the drama and the
across the board. That was
of that.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, and then they played the Mets. The Mets have, a wealthy owner.
And they were probably like the hottest, the potential Cinderella team coming in.
right.
As far as the National League's concerned, the real Cinderella would have been one of the wild cards, like Detroit.
Yes. Yeah. This whole thing, and then they play the Yankees, and this is the first time in, I want to say, 11 years where there was no wild card in the World Series. One of the teams wasn't a wild card. And this was the number 1 and number 2 team. And
number 1 from their respective leagues.
Yeah.
And number 1 and 2 in standings.
Right. And so this was a World Series, one classic, Yankees versus the Dodgers. The Dodgers now have won 8 World Series. 4 of those have come against the Yankees.
Only 19 more, and they will tie the Yankees.
Yeah, I know. The Yankees, but you think about when they won a lot of their World Series and who are you talking about? Who was on
and talk
those
about
teams?
Stacked teams. And it was different then.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a little more. You have to, when the Yankees were on top of everything back in like the Murderers Row time in 1927, but when they were winning those, there wasn't a draft.
No,
they went out. They found the players that they, and they spent the money on whoever they needed to. They built the team from undrafted players without, they had to really put some stuff in. I mean, nobody could take that away from them. They had, when you look at the Yankees, they have Hall of Famers at almost every position. I mean, I would be, trying to think about where don't they have? I mean, potentially they don't have, a couple positions maybe, but when you look through it, in the history of the Yankees, they are the greatest baseball team, organization wise, ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. Just the history right there of going back and all of the numbers that are retired out there. I mean, it just kind of goes around the whole ballpark. They have like their own little museum.
Had to go to like letters or 3-digit numbers.
Right.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Right. How do they still have numbers to wear?
Now batting for the Yankees, number R.
And that sounds funny. Number R. But how else would you say it? Letter R. That doesn't sound right.
I guess I could do that. But
so going into this World Series, I said Dodgers in 6, and you said.
I don't remember what I said.
I don't know what you said.
I said Dodgers in 5.
Now you don't remember, but now you say 5.
I know. I said no. I think I did say.
I think you may have said
5.
You probably
if we go back and look at it, because I didn't think it was going to go to 6 or 7 games.
Yeah,
I know that's what everybody, not everybody, but MLB and Fox wanted.
Oh yeah, of course. They always want a 7-game series. I was not a Dodger fan that was like they should win at Dodger Stadium. They need to come back, because to me, the World Series, you win when you win. It's because there's no guarantee you come home that you are going to win those 2 games, win that game, or if you lose, win the next game. So
exactly. The momentum can change that fast.
Yes.
And as we talk about the games and we talk about some players, especially for the Yankees, all it was going to take was for a couple guys who have been cold to get hot, and everything changes. And that's why when they didn't sweep, I honestly was starting to get a little more skeptical about
Very skeptical. You were like,
about
the Dodgers are going to lose.
and so we'll talk about game 5, and how how that worked. Here in a minute we'll go through game by game, but the the Yankees, you're always worried because it's not like everybody talks about the Dodgers first 3, the MV3s as they called them.
Yeah.
I was worried for the first 4, sometimes even the first 5 of the Yankees. No matter what, the Dodgers could have had a 10-run lead. I still was concerned every time they came up.
Oh yeah.
And they
every
weren't.
time.
They ended up not really being the problem.
No.
But when you've got Torres who gets on base and then wreaks havoc when he's on base, Juan Soto at number 2, he's not a great fielder, but as people have said, if they go to like the balls and strikes challenge, they could just get Juan Soto because he doesn't swing at stuff. He could tell you just by standing there if it's a ball or a strike, because he's very, very disciplined at the plate.
Yes. Yeah.
Judge, Stanton, and then Jazz Chisholm. And it's not so much that Jazz is such a great hitter or anything like that, but you don't want him on the bases.
Yeah, because he's fast and he can steal bases. He can make things happen.
And with his attitude, he can get in your head.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you have Volpe, who has been, I guess kind of hot and cold, but once he gets started, the same thing. He can get those hits when you need them. So it was not going into this series thinking this was going to be a cakewalk. And I thought that the Yankees would win a game in Dodger Stadium. And they didn't.
I didn't. I think at the beginning, there was that good possibility they would split going back to New York for the 3 there. But I knew after game 1.
Right. That was just
gonna happen.
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
All right. So game 1, let's talk about game 1. Game 1 was pretty exciting. It was a Zennings game. And, honestly, it really was like, who's going to take this? Who's going to win this?
Well,
Flaherty pitched pretty well. Honestly, he didn't pitch as well as Garrett Cole.
No.
But it took 5 innings before anybody got on the board.
Yeah, 5 innings. Dodgers do get on the board first. And that was the thing. I think in this game, Garrett Cole had his stuff. I mean, it's Garrett Cole. I wonder, though, the decision by Boone to pull him at 88 pitches when he clearly could have gone longer, I think, into the game. I think that because you had to get Cole out of there. You had to get him.
Did you? Oh, yeah. If you're the Dodgers, you got to get him out of there.
Yeah. If you're the Dodgers, you got to get him out of there. So he pitches, the 88.
A lot of questions of Aaron Boone after that, to which Aaron Boone said he was done. He was just finished. It didn't look like he was finished.
I don't think he was finished. I think he could have, to me, I thought he could have gone 8 and then they could have brought in their reliever. I mean, I know this went 10, but I think he could have maybe even had a complete game the way he was.
Well,
going.
The way it seemed, yeah. I mean, at least he gave up 1 run and 4 hits, struck out 4.
Yeah.
That's That's not a lot. And he only threw 88 pitches. Why was he done? This is a World Series.
Well, so it
ride
also
the hot hand at that point. He hadn't given you any reason.
Well, the same thing. We go back to the 2020 series against Tampa Bay. Blake Snell is on the mound.
Yeah, but that was scripted. They pulled him because Rob Manfred called down and talked to the GM there, and then they talked to Kevin Cash, and Kevin Cash said, "Really?" And he went out and he got him, and that was the end of it, because Blake Snell would have won at least one game for the Dodgers. I mean, for the Rays.
Well, he did win a game for the Dodgers when they pulled him.
When they pulled him, that wasn't his fault. That's when Kevin Cash won the game for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Rob Manfred did it and won it because that's what the script called for.
That is not what the script is.
Martin
I'm going to call
Scorsese is writing he's making a movie about how he directed the 2020 World Series.
No, that's not how it happens. It is not scripted. Although there are times that you're watching a postseason, the series, and you think, wait a minute, is this this just doesn't seem like, how is this happening? You know what I mean? Like, did they flip a coin, or did they say, okay, this is what you're going to do? But that's not how baseball works.
Well, how many times has an announcer said, as a stat coming up, oh yeah, he's got a 27 game hitting streak going on, or say something that's like, he hasn't struck out since, January, or not January, obviously not, but he hasn't struck out since April of 6 seasons ago.
Right.
And he hasn't struck out in that long, and then the guy strikes out.
That's a
or
jinx.
They say something.
That's a jinx.
The Dodgers have held these guys scoreless over the last 6 meetings.
Yeah.
And then the other team, scores on them.
That's an announcer's jinx.
That's
there. Play-by-play jinx.
You're
a bitter, sour Angels fan. Your Angel fandom is showing.
I'm not bitter or sour. I'm just calling out that
it is not
very
scripted.
Possible that there's a script going on there.
No, there is no.
I'm saying
script.
Like what you're saying. I'm just backing that up.
No,
many times?
I'm not saying that. You're not backing me up.
No, I'm saying
that's not how it works.
How many times does something happen that seems like, oh, that's convenient? Not only when your team's playing, another team and it goes your way, but when it happens the other way. It's like watching the Dodgers and the Padres, and you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden here comes, somebody off the bench that hasn't played very much. Or better yet, a guy who can't hit hardly. When Trent Grisham was on the team, he couldn't hit hardly anything. And then he comes up and hits a run scoring double, or hits a home run that walks off the Padres. How convenient is that? And you think that seems like too much of a coincidence that happened right there. He's got 2 homers on the whole season, but he's got 4 homers in this game. It's stuff like that where you just think, how does that work? How did that happen? And one thing I've noticed is that non-Dodger fans, not all of them, but a lot of them will say, well, 2020 is kind of an asterisk year because it was an odd season.
Sure.
They're not saying they didn't win it fair and square. They're just saying, as far as seasons go, should they actually have won that? And if you're going to say that, then how about 1981, where it was a split season because there was a work stoppage in the middle? Should the Dodgers have an asterisk for that year as well?
No.
But you know what I'm saying? You go through that stuff. But then but see, when you talk to Dodger fans, they go, this is as much of a championship as any other year. Everybody that's supportive, everybody on the radio in LA says, no. That was a different challenges, all that. The other day I heard Alana Rizzo talking about it. Yeah, it was different challenges, and nobody's saying, well, some people are saying, so what? Alex Verdugo said that was not any big deal.
Yeah,
I'm
whatever. He's
saying,
bitter.
I'm
He's a
saying
bitter
that
man.
if you look at my Instagram, my personal Instagram or my Facebook, what's my profile picture?
It is. It is a picture of a Dodger hat with the World Series with the
World Series champion,
the
and a little
trophy.
trophy.
Yes.
But what you can't see on there because of the way the picture and the lighting was, it says 2020.
Yeah.
Because where did I have a hat like that looked like that? They didn't have those in 1988.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
All right, but I get it, but I hadn't, and they won that one. I wore it a little bit after they won, and then I went to, and then when they didn't win the next year, I put it away. And I told myself, as soon as they win another one, I will wear that, because it wasn't that I didn't take 2020 as being a legitimate championship. It was that, like anything, I love that the Angels won a World Series, but I wish they would have not been the wild card. I wish they would have won their division, won the American League West. Because in the years that followed that, they did win the American League West, and they make it. In the years prior, in like 79, 82, and 86, they didn't. They won the West. There were no wild cards back then, but they didn't beat Baltimore, Milwaukee, or Boston.
Right.
So, game one.
Okay,
of
so
the unscripted series.
Okay, so Boone has to answer for Cole, who says he was done. He was done after 88 pitches. And really he comes out and the Dodgers don't score in the 6th or 7th inning. The Yankees are up 2-1 by the 7th.
No, the three guys Canely didn't. He gave up a run, but
Right.
the guys who, if you go with what you said, Cole pitches 8, then they'd have to face Holmes and Weaver. Weaver's been their closer.
Yeah.
That probably shuts them down. But Canley gives up a run, and it's it wasn't like it was. Well, they still had to do something because it was 3-2 when we get to after the bottom of the 8th, and going into the 9th, nobody scores to take us to innings. So it's 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. And then so that's when it goes into innings, and the Yankees do tack on another run, so they're up 3-2.
And it's looking like that could be it. Just because there's not been a lot of offense overall.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Seven total hits over over the 9 innings.
Well, and I think you think too about how the Dodgers, in the championship series against the Mets, I mean, those scores were so lopsided, and so there was a lot of offense, and then they come into this first game and you're like, oh no, what's going on? Where's the offense? Now, of course, a lot of that had to do with who was on the mound for the Yankees. But I remember what I was doing, where I was on October 15th, 1988, in that first game of the World Series, Dodgers versus the A's, when Kirk Gibson came up to bat. And I will remember where I was and what I was doing when Freddie Freeman came up to bat in the bottom of the 10th.
All right. Now, before we get to Freddie, you've got Jake Cousins
Yes.
pitching for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 10th. The Dodgers are down by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith starts off the inning with a fly ball out. Gavin Lux walks. Tommy Edman singles, and Gavin Lux moves up 1,
Mm-hmm.
and thus does, and Edmonds on first. Then Nestor Cortez comes in, and Chris Taylor goes in to run for Gavin Lux. Shohei, like, uh-oh, you got people on base, pops up.
Yeah. No.
But
Apparently he
because of the
couldn't see
play-
them.
Apparently not. But because of the play, Alex Verdugo runs over, gets it, falls into the stands. Great catch.
Oh, yeah.
But because he falls into the stands, the runners, by rule, move up 1 base
Right.
to second and third.
Right. Because it's out of the field of play.
And then they intentionally walk Mookie, setting up what you will remember.
What I will remember, and I don't know how many times I've watched this. I like on a constant loop. Freddie Freeman comes up to bat. There are 2 outs. It is the bottom of the 10th. This is it. He has to do something. He could tie the game with, a single, maybe, the way the Dodgers run, and especially with who was on third, and then you had and then Tommy Edmonds on second, could have been 2. It could have just been that. That's all he needed. Instead, Freddie Freeman hits a grand slam. This is the first grand slam, walk-off grand slam in World Series history. It was amazing. I leapt out of my chair, and I think I wasn't even in my chair because a lot of times I pace, especially in these kind of situations. I have my hands over my eyes. In this, I didn't. And he knew it. As soon as I think everybody knew it. And that's one of my favorite things about when you take the announcers out and you only hear the crowd noise. I love that. But to Joe Davis's credit, he said the same thing that Vin Scully said when Kirk Gibson hit that home run in the first inning, a 2-run home run. What'd he say? She's out of here.
She is out of here.
That's right. And so the presence of mind to remember that call and to say it, and then Freddie meet Gibby. And we later find out that Kirk Gibson really hadn't been watching the game, but turned it on right at about that, at that moment.
And very similar in time.
Yes.
They said about the same time. I've heard reports where it was yes, both were hit at 8:37 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I heard another one was 8:38, one was 8:37. But the fact that Freddie was not as hobbled, but still was dealing with his ankle. It wasn't as bad as it had been, but definitely, was still sore.
Yeah.
And he had problems throughout the Met series.
Yeah, didn't play in some of those games.
Yeah, at the end of it, he was not playing. But he, was coming in 6 hours before he needed to be there to get fully wrapped up and, do all of the therapy, the stuff that they could do. And I think they probably shot him up with some hydrocortisone shot or something in there. Because
Sure.
I think
Had to
Dave
make
said at
something.
one point he's on, he's on whatever to get him through.
Yeah.
And
I think going into the series, I thought in LA, we talked about 1-1 split. After this game, I think no way. The Dodgers can't lose they can't lose this series. This can't just be, oh yeah, that happened. Freddie Freeman did this in game 1, but the Yankees won, or the series.
well, and then you start off too. You had Oral Hershiser and Steve Yeager go out to throw out first pitches and a tribute to Fernando.
Exactly.
Was
34 was on the mound. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And was part of that last series versus the Yankees last time they played in the World Series.
Right. Yeah. I will say, just as a reminder for people, obviously none of our listeners, but if it's a moment of silence, that means you're quiet. And during that moment of silence, you heard people yelling or, like, I don't know if they were saying Fernando or what they were saying, but I just felt like it was not as respectful as it should have been.
People can't bear silence.
That's true. That is true. People are uncomfortable with silence. And then, so you had that whole thing with his family was there, and just Fernando having just passed away. So that was a huge thing. So going into game 2, Dodger fans are flying high. I think the Dodgers are flying high because the looks on their faces when he hit that grand slam was just one of like, holy cow, he just did that. And then elation, of course, and running out and mobbing him at home plate. So I thought, man, the Dodgers, this is it. The Dodgers are going to win this whole thing. I didn't know exactly how, but I knew they were going to win the whole thing. It didn't mean that I didn't get upset about things or sometimes have a little bit of doubt, especially in game 5.
So, game 2 and game 3 also settled another thing that, not only who's the best baseball team, the Dodgers or the Yankees, at least this season, but there was another thing that's an age-old question that was settled. We'll talk about that after we talk about game 3. Game 2, Dodgers come out. And of course, like during the World Series, you're always pulling out stops. What kind of things can we do that'll motivate the team, motivate the crowd? And on game 2, they bring out Ice Cube.
Oh,
LA
yeah.
icon, rap icon, actor. He comes out and, like the pro he is, sets the Dodgers and Dodger Stadium on fire.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Awesome performance. And you even saw Alex Verdugo kind of forget what team he was on because he was really enjoying Ice Cube's performance, even though there were some little digs at the at the Yankees in that set. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, they were ready to go. Ice Cube helped, he helped them, and definitely with that, setting them up.
So the Dodgers, this one was a little more straightforward. Mm-hmm. No big drama. Dodgers score all 4 runs that they would need to win this in the second and the third, and the Yankees would add 1 in the third and 1 in the ninth. It was, nobody knew what Carlos Rodon would do for him, but really nobody knew what to expect from Yoshi Yamamoto. They thought what the potential was, but he's been up and down all season when he's been healthy. So what was going to happen?
Yeah, that was something I think a lot of people weren't sure about, because he had pitched and he pitched well during the season, but he had that injury. He was on the IL, came back in September, and just the game that he had was it was great. I mean, it's exactly what the Dodgers needed, especially when you think about the Dodgers. When you look at the Dodgers on paper versus the Yankees have the edge when it comes to pitching. They had, I guess you could say, a full rotation of pitchers to go out, and the Dodgers were like, well, we got 3 guys.
Right. Maybe.
Maybe, right? Because you don't know. And he just came out and did a phenomenal job of pitching. And you think back too, I think he might kind of have the Yankees number, because he pitched against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium and beat them there.
Right.
So, and he gets the win in this game. But yeah, he pitched, and this is exactly what the Dodgers needed. They needed length. 6 1/3 innings, only gives up 1 run, has 4 strikeouts. He did give up a home run, but I think sometimes that just is like, yeah, okay, he gave up a home run, but
well, and it really was harmless, and it was to Juan Soto, who didn't have a very good. That was his only RBI.
Yeah.
In the whole series and that's game 2. So what does that tell you? That they didn't have it. And we know Aaron Judge was having a horrible, in game 1, Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run, but even then they just couldn't put it together. In the bottom of their order, you hold your breath for the first 3 or 4 batters, and then, just take a nap during the bottom of the order.
Yeah. I mean, in this game, Tommy Edman had a home run, Tommy Tanks, as they call him. And was this the, 4th consecutive home run for Freddie Freeman in this game?
Oh, right. In 4th straight in the World Series.
In the World Series.
He had hit 2 games in 21 when he was with the Braves, and then now he hit in the first 2 games he had hit a home run, and he was, really. I don't think he needed to do anything else really after the first game.
No,
he kept it up, and
he did. Teoscar had a home run in this game, 2-run home run. So the Dodgers are up, 3-1, and then Freddie Freeman, and those were back-to-back home runs.
Freddie
I
and
think
Teo,
they
yeah.
were, yeah. So back-to-back home runs. Dodgers are up 4-1, and then New York will score 1 more, and Dodgers win this game 4-2. And they go to New York up 2-0. And I liked our chances in game 3 because of the person that was going to be on the mound. Didn't matter that it was in the Bronx, because we'd already seen Aaron Judge wasn't hitting anything. Yeah, Soto had a home run, but he really wasn't doing much. There just wasn't a lot offensively going on, and even defensively, there wasn't a lot going on. I wondered when I watched Anthony Rizzo, like, really, I have to run out here again to catch this ball because you can't do it, Juan Soto? How many times did you see that?
Well, and how many times during the series did you see a ball? Juan Soto's played out there all season,
Yeah.
and he misplayed so many balls that could have been held to singles. Mookie played most balls correctly. He doesn't even hardly play there. Maybe he remembers from his days of playing there when he was with the Red Sox. But he didn't have. He was getting them and holding guys to singles, and Juan Soto couldn't do that in his own ballpark.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, because Aaron Judge wasn't hitting, and neither was really Juan Soto.
Mm-hmm.
Stanton is the one who's had been having the best postseason.
Right.
It was like you could pitch around him if you wanted to, but they didn't have to. They were going right after him most of the time.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
Judge was swinging at stuff that you could tell, and they were talking a lot about it. John Smoltz brought it up, other people brought it up, was that you could see that he's just not in it because of a lot of the pitches he was swinging at. Was like he's easily fooled by these. As you saw the series go on, you could see him start to adjust a little more, but maybe just too little too late in that case.
Yeah, definitely. I think at one point they showed this is a guy who hit 58 home runs last season he hit 62. You watch his foot, it's like little things. And if his foot wasn't coming down right at this moment, he wasn't hitting. But if it shifted just enough this way, he was hitting. It's just crazy how little mechanics like that are off, and then you just are over.
They were talking about that with Max Muncy.
Yes.
That when his left foot goes back before he hits, that's when he's having problems. There's something going on, whether what he's trying to adjust with, what he's doing. When he stays in there and keeps that left foot planted, it was fine. But when he starts doing that back step, and it showed he didn't have a great series either.
No, not in this World Series. Top of the first, yeah, Shohei comes up, and then Mookie comes up. I think Shohei gets on base, and
he walked.
That's right, he walked. And then Freddie comes up and does what Freddie does. He hits another home run. And there were signs later in one of the games, I think it's game 4, but Freddie, please stop.
Yes. I saw that. That was a nice sign.
That was a nice.
There was a lot of talk about when, was it game 2 or no, game 3 was it, or was it game 4 where they were standing, they were doing the stand up to cancer thing?
Yeah. That was game 4.
People were instead of just standing there with their sign, and that they were actually, yelling out expletives at Freddie.
Right, who is standing for his mom, who died of cancer when he was 10. I mean, yeah. And we did that. Yeah, like read the room, dude. People. They did that at the All-Star game, and everybody was very respectful at the All-Star game. When we did that. So, yeah, I guess different places, different how people react. But yeah, so the Dodgers are already up on the board in the first inning. They're up 2-0, and you have Walker Buehler. And like I said, going into this game, I felt good about this because Walker Buehler is a postseason pitcher. He has struggled throughout this season. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. He was put on the IL because of his hip, but he went to Florida, worked on his pitching, came back, started looking more like Walker. Not the butane that we were used to when he first came out and made his debut. But now it's a Walker who, yeah, he's not throwing crazy, 100 mile per hour. That's not what matters. What matters is he is throwing a variety of different pitches that were fooling, the Yankees lineup. And he was able to do that. And he just has the intensity that you need for the World Series or postseason.
Right.
And it's better for him to pitch away from Dodger Stadium, to be on the opponent's field, because it adds that much more to the whole aura of Walker.
You could see, and it was brought up. John Smoltz brought it up a few times and it was talked about in other series with him, in that he gets out there, he can get started, but he didn't know how to finish off. And they were trying to throw. These guys were swinging at a lot, especially Aaron Judge, swinging at a lot of the breaking balls. And so they were throwing that. When he finally stopped it, Walker would throw him some fastballs, and they weren't prepared for him.
Yeah,
because they were waiting for the breaking balls, and he's not even pitching at his fastball, like you said, it's not touching 100. It's 93, 94 miles an hour, maybe 95.
Yeah, maybe.
But because of the way that and this is the one thing that I think a lot of these guys, and maybe the Dodgers will figure this out too, it's not about going out there and throwing 100 miles an hour. It's knowing how to change speeds on some of those pitches. And that's what made the difference.
Well, it's all about fooling the hitter, and and Walker did a good job. And the Dodgers, like I said, they were up 2 in the first. They scored 3. The Yankees were held scoreless for 8 innings. They had no runs on the board. It wasn't until the bottom of the 9th when Alex Verdugo, and by this point the Dodgers are up by 4, Alex Verdugo hit a 2-run home run, but that was, again, too little too late.
Sometimes you worry about stuff like that, but it was kind of like, yeah, whatever.
It was it was like, all right, we're good. We're going to win anyway.
So the Yankees, to start off this game, brought out a guy named Fat Joe.
Yes.
And then some people say, I don't remember. I've heard the name, but I couldn't tell you what he looked like before, how long he's been around. I don't really know. Right. But it was like, oh, he's not fat anymore, or he's not fat like he used to be, whatever. And the Yankees fans really didn't get into it.
No, it wasn't that good. I think I sent you the text that said West Coast rap is so much better than East
did.
Coast
That was what, right there, we knew that it was over for the Yankees. No matter how many games it took, because of that battle. So there we know that New York and Fat Joe had nothing on Ice Cube and the West Coast, because it was a good day for 3 days with the Dodgers.
Yes.
And then I Kike said it a couple times. This guy named Fat Joe comes out. He's not so fat anymore. And at that point, we didn't even have to play the game. We knew we won.
That's right.
And, you look around, the New York fans were just not into it. And it took a while before they even recognized a song that he was singing that they knew.
Yeah. And I mean, he walked out of the dugout and it was like, okay, who's this guy? Yay. But when Ice Cube comes out from the outfield and is walking, the whole crowd was electrified. Fat Joe did not do that in the Bronx. No,
he didn't get them. So appropriately enough, they lose that game. So here we are on the break of busting out the brooms
Yeah.
perhaps. And game 4, and we're playing 3 days in a row
Uh-huh.
for that mid part of the series. So it's October 29th. The Dodgers and the Yankees playing. I don't know. I think the temperature was in the 50s. It's 49 plus thousand on hand for an 8:08 start time. And the Dodgers waste no time getting on the board.
No time, because who else? Are you kidding me? Freddie Freeman. It's another home run.
4th consecutive game in this World Series. 6 consecutive. And that breaks the record, which was held by George Springer, who had 5 consecutive games.
Right.
So Freddie's got 6. Brings home Mookie, who had doubled right before him, and that would be it for that inning. They end up taking those 2 and go, and it's what nobody scores again until the bottom of the 2nd.
Yeah, the Yankees score 1. And when Freddie hit that home run, I was like, okay, this could be it. And the thing about this game feels right. But the thing about this game is this is a bullpen game for the Dodgers. And who is trotted out? It is not our high leverage arms. But you still have hope, because you're like, they could do this. They could sweep the Yankees in this World Series. And that was not to be. And
well,
after the bottom of the 3rd,
a rookie he's started one other game in his career, Ben Kasparius.
Right. I think this was his 7th game in the majors.
Right. And it's starting game 4 of the World Series. Now, albeit he comes into the game with a 2-run lead, thanks to Freddie and Mookie. But it seems like he's okay to start. He gets Gleyber Torres to pop up, but then he walks Juan, he walks Aaron. I'm yelling at the TV. You're walking somebody who's not hitting anything anyway.
Exactly.
Why? So he walks them. They're both on there. Then Jazz Chisholm, he grounds out, but everybody moves up. And Giancarlo Stanton grounds out. So he makes it out of there, but 2 walks. And he doesn't look confident in that inning, even though he gets out of it without a scratch.
Right.
On the other side, a rookie who actually has started and is a top, for potentially being in the rookie of the year for the American League. One of the he's in the race anyway. He comes in, boom, boom, boom. Really, he gets Gavin Lux doubles, but double play after a pop-up, and that inning's over. And here comes Kasparas. Walks Anthony Volpe, somebody else who hasn't been hitting.
Right.
Volpe steals. Austin Wells, another rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Volpe's not a rookie, but he's only a second-year player.
Right.
Wells doubles, but because Volpe misread, and it looked like it could have been caught potentially when he was there. He only gets to third base. So instead of scoring on that, he only gets to third base. And then Alex Verdugo grounds out to the first baseman, but Volpe scores. So you're like, okay, that's not a big deal. And then he's able to get out of there. But the problem is it felt like there was a lot more walks, but there was a lot more times that he was in peril.
Yes.
And surprisingly, he got out of it, but it kind of set the tone for the game, I think.
Yeah, it did. And I think as he gets replaced, the Dodgers don't do anything in the top of the third. And he gets replaced by Daniel Hudson, who
Which
we didn't know at the time, but he's been hot and cold and dealing with some things. And I was like, I like Daniel Hudson, but is this really where we want to go? And it really wasn't where we wanted to go because, well, you think it is because Juan Soto struck out.
Right.
Swinging. But
right.
Aaron Judge is hit by a pitch.
Once again, I'm yelling at him. Why did you hit him? He can't hit anyway.
Right. Exactly. Jazz Chisholm singles. Aaron Judge goes to third. Jazz Chisholm steals second base. Giancarlo Stanton walks. And then that brings up, then there's a pop out, and Anthony Volpe comes up to the plate. And what does he do? He hits a grand slam because that's what you do when bases are loaded. And that is when the momentum was shifted in this game from, oh, hey, we got 2 runs because Freddie Freeman hit a home run, to it is now 5-2. And they're feeling good. Yankees fans are flying high. And we didn't mention in the first inning the incident with the fan and Mookie Betts.
No, we can come back to that.
All right, we'll come back
Finish
to
the game
that.
up, and then we'll talk about
yes, we
that.
can talk a little bit more about that. But it just kind of went, I guess, with the theme of the with the game for the Dodgers.
Right, it did. But I think at the time, thought it was going to have the opposite effect.
Exactly. Oh yeah, totally thought it was going to be a game change. This is just how you were saying, oh, the announcer says this, whatever, something happens and you're like, oh, karma. No, not in this instance, but we'll talk about that. So it's 5-2 and the Dodgers don't score again. After they scored 2, they scored 2 in the 5th, so they had four runs on 6 hits, but they don't score again from the 6th on. The Yankees tack on a run in the 6th, and then they tack on 5 runs in the 8th. And I think at that point I was like, I'm going to bed. Because it was 10-4 when I turned the TV off, because I just couldn't stand to watch it anymore.
Yeah, I was having problems with it too. And yeah, it just kind of fell apart. And honestly, Kasperius to Hudson was like, okay, what are we doing here? Landon Knack, I was like, no. But out of all of them, Landon Knack, he gives up a home run to Austin Wells of all people. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing that got me was Volpe isn't a very good hitter overall as far as like his overall hitting average. He's below average. Austin Wells is a catcher. He doesn't hit very, very well either. And I thought, bringing in Landon Knack, okay, he doesn't care, being Doc. I figured he doesn't care. And they're done. And then Brent Honeywell Jr. So this is kind of like the game they gave away in what was it, San Diego?
Yeah.
Or was it Mets?
Yeah.
They give it away because it's just like, you know what?
Oh, well, against the Mets.
Right. They just you're like looking at it's like, yeah, it was, because then, this is the gay, Brent Honeywell Jr. is the guy that that once they won the National League, Max Muncy was singing his praises.
Oh yeah.
And what he does for the Yankees is like what he did for Mookie. I'm just going to throw him straight across and
Yes.
start unloading. Well, they did. He comes in and, he's got, he starts off with a ground out to start it, but then Volpe, it's his night, doubles. Austin Well walks. They both end up stealing. A double steal there with Volpe going to third and Wells going to second. And then turn it on again, Alex Verdugo it's just a fielder's choice, but Volpe scores. Still got people at the corners. Gleyber Torres with a home run, 3-run shot. It's kind of like garbage time.
Yeah.
And they're loading on. But here's what my problem was with it is that, yes, they're facing guys who probably shouldn't even be on the roster if they didn't have so many people out.
Right.
And I was like, so I knew it was over. I knew that they weren't trying. That doesn't mean they couldn't come back, but it was less likely when it got to be, 10-4.
Right.
Then
yeah, I felt at this point, after Hudson, I felt like that Doc just punted. He just punted the ball in this game. And he had the luxury of doing that to a certain extent because you're up by 3. But things turn. And this game, yeah, what they were doing against, these guys that, Knack, Kasparis, Honeywell. Yeah, you finally got some hits, but then you get a hit here, you get a hit there. Then you're like, oh, I remember how to hit now.
Right. And that was my problem was it's not just one game where it's like, okay, this is a moment where these guys could start looking to break out. Aaron Judge gets a single.
Yeah.
And as part of that, and Juan Soto scores. And like I said, next thing you know, it's 11-4. And that was the one thing I saw people posting on, on Twitter, some guy up in a batting cage, just swinging at whatever, or swatting at flies. And you're like, oh, Aaron Judge, when he comes to bat. And I wasn't about to laugh at that.
Right.
Or to take part of that, because I'm like, he's going to turn it around, and all it's going to take is one thing, and it takes him and gets him going. And then they got to figure out how to pitch to Soto, Judge, and Stanton. And luckily, they never really had to do too much of that because they never really got on track.
Right.
But at this point, you're like, okay, now Garrett Cole is coming up tomorrow, and he pitched well in game 1, and who knows, he's at home now.
Yeah.
How's this going to be? And the Dodgers looked defeated at the end of that game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It wasn't, they didn't go, when you looked at them, they didn't have that look. And we've seen this look from them before. It was like, it's one game, no big deal. They were actually looking like, uh-oh.
Yeah, what just happened here? What are we going to do? And so Garrett Cole's on the mound.
Freddie, what happens, Freddie? What do we do now, Freddie?
Oh, Freddie. And I have Jack Flaherty. And I will say that this game 5, I feel like encapsulates the Dodgers season. This game, You had Jack Flaherty on the mound, who pitched well in game 1 of the series and has pitched well. And he does not have it. I mean, it's not good. When bottom of the first, Soto walks. Guess who finally hits a home run? Aaron Judge. So you're like, okay, 2-0. Not a big deal. 2-0. But as you mentioned, Garrett Cole is on the mound. And not only after Judge homers, Jazz Chisholm homers. It's 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, okay, I don't know. Flaherty's got to figure this out. We cannot go to the bullpen. What is happening? Is this that momentum shift was so, seismic that this could totally change everything for the Dodgers? And at this point, it's like, we have to win this game. We cannot go back to Los Angeles. They cannot go back. They have to win this game. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they have to win it. They get out of this inning, but the Dodgers don't do anything. And
3 up and 3 down. 2 strikeouts.
That's it. Yeah. But the Yankees get another run. It's 4-0. And it is the bottom of the second, and there's a pitching change. Jack Flaherty's out. And so when I say that this game like encapsulates, the Dodgers have had 12 starting pitchers or something crazy like that. Pitchers, not to say starting, but pitchers on the IL at all different times of the season. Many of them were in the dugout. And then you have this one guy, who's supposed to be like, okay, they traded for him. There he is. He's the, hometown kid. And then he falls apart. And then we have to bring in the bullpen. But this time around, the bullpen is not the same as the night before.
Well, the best thing about the way that the night before's bullpen was handled is that it set up, all these guys had an extra day of rest.
Yes.
The high leverage guys. So by not pitching back to back to back, that gave Blake Trinan a day off. It gave, Ryan Brazier a day off. And those guys, Banda. And it definitely, although, Banda comes in, doesn't look too bad. But, Ryan Brazier comes in after the Dodgers do nothing again in the third.
Exactly. Right.
Brazier comes in and promptly gives up a home run to Stanton. And now it's 5-0. And it doesn't feel like, and it's only the third inning.
Yeah, only the third inning. And so I'm studying there thinking, okay, I still have hope. They can still pull this out. How they're going to do it, I don't know. From the beginning of the series against the Padres all the way through the World Series, I have, and I will post, I will do a Instagram post, a Twitter post. I have these bands that I wear, and they have different messages on them. And I've been wearing one that says, keep the faith. And that's what I was doing. I had it on and I was like, keep the faith. They can do this. But it really felt like they couldn't do it because they couldn't hit anything. They just couldn't, they couldn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, it's 5-0. And there was one time in the top of the fourth where Mookie walks and Freddie hits out to center field, but Aaron Judge hits that ball. And if he catches that ball, if he had misplayed that, then maybe it's a little bit of a different story, because then you're like, oh, top of the fourth, we got some runs on the board. We can handle this. Because a lot of times, even with 2 outs, the Dodgers, they're not done. You're like, yeah, okay, we got 2 outs. That's all right. They keep going.
Game 1.
Yeah, no, exactly.
2 outs, and that's when that happened. So, yeah,
Right.
it just goes, and then things kind of settle down for a couple of innings. And then the top of the 5th is when we started to see some stuff crumble. And this is where the momentum, like you said, we're worried about what could happen if guys start hitting from the Yankees that haven't been, what that could mean. And if they did that, my feeling was, if they lose that game going back to LA, the momentum is firmly with the Yankees at that point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, and if that's the case, I think I don't care who wins then. If the Dodgers lose tonight, then they can lose the World Series and they deserve it. Because they shouldn't.
Yes, you texted that to me.
You shouldn't have. To me, it was like, never let the foot off the gas. Dave Roberts said in one of the post-game press conferences, I don't want to let these guys take a breath.
You're right.
And that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers clearly were the better team.
Yes.
In so many facets of the game. But I think maybe the thing that happened in game 3, or game 4, I mean, comes back to haunt them here. And it's not even on them. It's on their fans that this happens. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the bottom of the top of the 5th started off pretty, not anything big. Kike singles, Tommy Edman gets on an error.
Mm-hmm.
And that was was that the fly ball to Judge?
Yes.
The line drive to Judge. Now, I saw immediately what happened. Did you see what happened with Judge that caused that?
I think I felt like he just read it wrong, but he also seemed to be like, oh, this is an easy play.
If you watch it, if you get a chance, go back and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Judge's eyes leave the ball to look into the infield. And at that split second, he was already ready to, in his mind, he's already catching the ball. He's already looking where he's going to throw
Throwing it, yes.
He needed to wait a split second. And in that split second that he took his eye off the ball or got ahead of himself, the ball goes off of his glove. And that starts out, or did it? Because now you're thinking, okay, Kike's on, Edman's on, and then Will Smith, he gets on with the misplay at shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
So the bases are loaded, but Lux and Shohei both strike out. So we got the bases loaded, but neither one of them's hitting, and it's like, okay, now what? Well, now what happens is Mookie. Mookie hits a ball, just a little, dribbler.
Yeah, it was like 49 miles per hour off the bat.
Yeah, it was hardly anything, but it's hard enough to get to first base, far enough back at first base. By the time he gets there, Mookie turns on the afterburners. Well, nobody wants to run to first base. Anthony Rizzo picks it up and makes a couple steps, and he probably, if he'd have moved faster, might have beat him. We don't know.
Right.
Garrett Cole was standing next to Mookie, pointing at first base.
Yeah. And I think that they both looked exasperated at one another. But Mookie, I think, had hit a ball similar, maybe in the last at bat or at some point in the game, earlier in the game. And Rizzo ran that, got the ball himself and got him out at first. Now, I don't know if Mookie was running as hard as he did in the 5th inning, but there was obviously miscommunication because I think, but the thing is if you go back and watch and you slow it down or you watch it, Garrett Cole is standing there. Mookie Betts is right, like passing him. I mean, and and they're at the same spot. And it's like, you could have made it to first
if he'd
base.
have moved, but he came off going, he kind of was going away from first base when he came off the mound instead of going towards first base.
Yeah.
Rizzo was closer had he just committed to it to begin with, but he's looking for Garrett Cole, and Garrett Cole's nowhere to be found. And Mookie gets on base, which ends up scoring a run. Kike comes in from third. Bases are still loaded because Tommy Edman goes to third and Will Smith goes to second. And then Freddie comes up. Yeah, no, not another home run, unfortunately.
No, he just singles.
He got a lousy single that brings in 2 runs. At the end of this inning, and Teoscar scores, hits a double that brings in Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm.
All 5 runs score in that inning are unearned.
All 5. 3 errors for the Yankees.
And next thing you know, it's tied up.
It's tied up, and what is happening?
So, but I think about it, I go, well, that's a lot of, on one side, it's like, that's hard to come back from 5 runs down. And, you're trying to work your way back into the game. I said, I don't know. Sometimes that tires you out. But they didn't really have to do too much work. And honestly, that's where, you could say in this game, the Yankees gave one away. Potentially, right?
Yes.
Because they do take control when Giancarlo Stanton hits a sacrifice fly that would bring in Juan Soto, who walked to start off the inning off of Brewster Gratterall.
Yeah, you had Brewster came in and he was not lights out like you wanted him to be.
And so,
that's where you got a little like, oh, okay, how is this going to, is it going to stay?
Well, that's always what happens, right? You work hard to catch up, but then they get that one more run and you just kind of wore yourself out. So you weren't able to do that. So to get the runs that you needed, what worked out nicely for them is, number one, Blake Trinan comes in at the end of the 6th and ends it, gets Volpe to ground out, and they move on. Garrett Cole, after walking Freddie Freeman, is lifted for Clay Holmes, who goes on to get out of the inning. And I think that there was taking Cole out was probably not a big thing there, but not leaving Clay Holmes in to pitch another inning was probably worked against the Yankees and Aaron Boone. Blake Trinan comes in, gets the Yankees down 3 up, 3 down on that one, goes in order. And then the Dodgers with Tommy Canley coming in. It wasn't his night.
No.
2 singles and a walk to start off the inning, and they bring in their closer there in the top of the 8th, and Luke Weaver gives up really the 2 hits that would be the game-winning hits for the Dodgers. They tied up with a Gavin Lux sacrifice fly, that would get Kike, who was at third base at that point, scores. And then Shohei reached on catcher's interference.
Mm-hmm.
So now now you've got Will Smith at second and Shohei at first. Tommy Edman at third, so you get the bases loaded, and Mookie Betts comes to the plate, and it's not sexy, but it is baseball. Sacrifice fly to deep center field, scoring Tommy Edman, and that would be 7-6, and really that would be all they needed. Blake Trinan, who had already gotten 4 outs, gets another 3 to shut down the Yankees in the 8th.
And the Dodgers in this top of the 9th, there's not a lot, there's a fly out and a walk and a strikeout.
KO single.
Yeah. Ground out, and that's it. But the Dodgers are up 7-6. So now it is the bottom of the 9th, but we know that Blake Trinan is not going to be able to pitch that,
Gone
that's
above and beyond already.
Exactly. So we'd seen Walker Buehler in the bullpen, and he was kind of, had a ball in his hand, and he was like looking at, talking to the other pitchers. So, and sometimes though, the starting pitchers will go down to the bullpen, just, kind of hang out, but not during the World Series game. And then when he takes his jacket off, Walker Buehler is coming into the game to get the final 3 outs. And I was confident. I was like, he's going to do this because, one, it's the adrenaline, and this is his stage. This is what he thrives.
Well, he had told Dave, and then later told Andrew Friedman, if you need me, if things get wonky,
right,
I'm ready. And Dave's like, okay,
yeah, sure.
You just had a day off. I don't think,
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, just thanks, Walker.
Yeah.
And even Andrew Friedman was kind of like, okay, yeah. And and at that point they needed somebody. It was like, well, he says he can do it. When you're asking for the ball, it's hard not to give it to him. And then who were you going to go to?
Yeah,
Kopech,
exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it was the top of the, I said in the 6th inning when he went out to the bullpen, and he went and he saw Andrew Friedman, and he said, "Are things wonky?" And he's like, "Yeah, things are wonky." And so he goes out there and gets Volpe to ground out. Austin Wells strikes out, and Alex Verdugo, which is so perfect that he is the last out of this game with all the trash talk that he talked about his former team, who I just know that he's jealous because he's not a Dodger, strikes out swinging, and Walker Buehler comes off the mound like, "How you like me now?" And Dodgers go crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm yelling and screaming. I'm so excited. And you look at it, Shohei, and we didn't even talk about
who?
Shohei in the second game where he, had a
because he was such a non-factor throughout the series, even before that happened.
Yeah.
That what we're going to talk about.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, the crowd goes silent, but even when I saw him, I'm like, oh, his shoulder popped out. He'll be okay. That was my thought. Because I was like, oh, it's a Cody Bellinger thing. And he was, but he didn't, he ended up not really, he didn't contribute in this World Series game. But let's go back. We got the fan in game 4.
Yes. So what,
in the first inning.
Right. Let's set it up here. First inning. So the you figure the Dodgers are up 2-0 at this point. Thanks to Freddie's home run.
Mm-hmm.
They Mookie's, everybody's out. They're in position, and Gleyber Torres, this is the leadoff hitter, hits a long foul ball. Mookie goes over and leaps up, is able to make the catch even a little over the wall, makes the catch. So Torres is out, but in the process, 2 Yankee fans, one of them for sure is a season ticket holder,
Mm-hmm.
One guy grabs hold of Mookie's glove because they didn't want him to have it. And they didn't try hitting his glove or trying to get to the ball before he did. The guy grabs his arm and tries to pull open the glove. Well, Mookie's trying to get his other arm up there to get his hand away more than the ball.
Right.
And his friend grabs hold of his arm, of Mookie's other arm. So they've got him both up there. They're mugging the poor guy.
Yeah. Assault.
And then the funny part is it wasn't about the ball. They wanted to get the ball away from him. So they say, well, he didn't make the catch. But there's video and everything's replayable at that
And you're
point.
on the Jumbotron.
Right. And the ball comes out, so they don't even get the ball.
No.
The ball falls back onto the field.
Yes.
And then you look, and the umpires are over there. The umpires had already called it.
Yeah.
That he was out, and there was fan interference. And one of the fans is like going back and forth across where the wall is, the line. He was over the line. It's not tennis.
I know.
It's not like an offsides call in hockey
Right.
or an inbound play in basketball. He was over the line. It's like, yeah, he came in, and then one of the guys says he came into our area, so we had to D up. It's like the ball was already caught. You should have been paying more attention to the ball to knock it away, because it wasn't Mookie being able to get it's one thing, but he didn't have the right to the ball as if it had just stayed in play.
Right.
Once it was over and he had to reach into the crowd, that's a whole different thing.
Yes.
But they weren't paying attention to the ball. And once he got it, then he's like, I've never seen that, trying to pry it open.
No, I've never seen that either. I thought
that
was
sure
crazy.
That was it. They were doomed, and they deserved to be swept because of their fans. But it didn't happen till the next night.
Yeah. And Joe Kelly, who was not on the roster, was in the bullpen. And it was, I think, right at the beginning of the 5th inning. And Fat Joe is there, or Ozempic Joe, whatever they call him now, was there. And they show him on the Jumbotron. And Joe Kelly says, that's it. We're winning this game. It's the curse of Fat Joe.
The guys from John Boy
Yes.
Media, they were filming themselves. They're all Yankee fans.
Yes.
And they're sitting there and they're like, what? And you could see them going on. Of course, they're cussing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they're like, they're just like that. And then the one guy who was closest to where the camera was, he goes, they show Fat Joe on the screen and it's all over. And he too was like the curse of Fat Joe.
Yes.
He's like, how does this happen? And I guess that'll be the last time they invite him to do that. The thing that I hated about what happened in the first inning was number one, Mookie was great about it.
Yes.
He didn't cause it. Although he did say after the game, he told his wife that was only the second time in his life he wanted to fight somebody.
Oh yeah. I mean, you think about like somebody like Tommy Pham.
Oh yeah, he'd have been in the stands. Joe Kelly would have been in the stands.
In the stands.
So, they and then you're thinking these guys have to be, the fact that they got him, and I guess Mookie could say he was assaulted.
Yeah.
And luckily what they did, he didn't get injured. Because if they'd had injured him, I think I think all of LA would have gone over there to find those guys.
Oh yeah.
But they get kicked out of the stadium and they go down the street to a bar, and some guy from ESPN follows them there to do a story about the guy, and everybody's buying him drinks at the bar like he's some sort of hero.
Yeah.
Now,
He's not.
imagine if Jerks and Profar had been accosted going into the crowd in left field at Dodger Stadium, and they had grabbed hold of him while he was way deeper into the seats than Mookie was,
Right.
and did something, he would have been filing hate crime charges against him. You hate the Padres, thus it's a hate crime. He would have gone overboard with it. Manny Machado, well, maybe we should have got him to do that, because Manny would have gone out there, and Tatis, and all of them would have been out there. They would all got thrown out and suspended for the rest of the series, and we wouldn't have had to deal with them. The fun part is, and who was the guy from the Mets weren't as mouthy, but
No.
you figure Tatis Jr., Alex Verdugo, who when asked about it said, it didn't look that bad. But he's been harassed by the Yankee fans when he was with the Red Sox, and he was constantly yelling at them and, cursing at them and everything. He knows what do you mean. It's the only reason it wasn't that bad because it was your fans. If it was you and the Dodger fans, who, by the way, you did go into, you did go into the crowd at Dodger Stadium. They didn't do anything to you. They helped you up.
Yeah.
And, had it been the other way around, though, you would have screamed bloody murder. And then who was the guy from the Mets who was running his mouth about the Dodgers?
Oh, the catcher.
Yeah. And so those three guys, Tatis Jr., the Mets guy, so great, I can't even remember his name, and Alex Verdugo were all the final outs of their series as
That's
they
right.
lost to the eventual champions.
That's right. Don't mouth off, or mouth off. That works. Yeah. Freddie Freeman, of course, is the MVP. And we find out later, not only does he have a bum ankle that was getting better, he also had broken costal cartilage in his 6th rib.
As we talked about in an episode from a few seasons, 2 or 3 seasons ago, is it intercostal or intercostal? And it is intercostal.
Yes, and
it's
intercostal. That's an injury Max Muncy had, and it was out for a long time. Had to go to the chiropractor to finally, figure it out. And they kept that. We knew about the ankle. We didn't know about the rib. And his dad even told him, listen, you can't play. And he's like, no, I got to play. I'm not going to not play.
See, this is what I like about Freddie Freeman, why he's one of my favorites out there.
Yes.
Is because he's doing something that other guys would have stopped. They would have been off the field and they would have been out for the season and or for the playoffs. And he, the only time that he didn't play because of something was when things were going on with his son.
Right.
And
exactly. Which is totally understandable. And, but his wife said there were times where he could hardly get out of bed, like just to get up. But he was going in, like you said, 6 hours. That is a true MVP.
Yes. Completely. And
yeah, he's always been one of my favorites, but even
World
more
Series
so.
MVP, and there was no question about it. Just like Tommy Edman, there was no question about him.
Yeah.
He definitely, even if he hadn't done anything else after that grand slam, that would have been, enough. But he was above and beyond even then. 4 home runs worth of home run. I mean, 4 games worth of home runs.
And then I think if you can give a group MVP, it would go to the bullpen.
Oh yeah,
Except for Game 4.
not for Game 4, not those guys.
Not
But
those guys.
you got to give those guys that they went out there and they took their beating, and the Dodgers lived to fight another day. Like I said, Game 5, if not for that 5th inning,
Yeah.
if not for the camera operator showing Fat Joe, who knows when this would have been over.
Yeah.
Instead of having a parade, they would have been playing Game 6.
Right.
On the 1st on Friday. So that the Dodgers get, and one thing that I think that I liked about this, that I thought was it's too bad they didn't do this or try to do it, was there was no parade in 2020.
Right.
And they should have invited, and maybe they did, they should have invited the guys from 2020 that aren't part of this team to come out and had a bus for them.
It could have been a little bus.
Yeah, it could have been, but just enough so that those guys could come out.
Yeah.
As well and celebrate that that one. But what are you going to do? They get to do that. The streets were crowded.
It was crazy the amount of people that were in LA, all over LA. And yeah, I mean, and in the stadium, they had, they came back to the stadium. It was a ticketed event, and there were 50,000 people there, just like as if there was a game going on.
Oh yeah, I looked to see when they said the tickets for that would be available. I logged in as soon as I saw it. It was like, it'll refresh, and it would refresh every 30, 40 seconds, and it just kept refreshing.
Yeah. It's crazy. This World Series had more than 30 million combined average viewers across North America and Asia. I'm sure you can imagine where in Asia that was. World Series viewership in the U.S. averaged 15.8 million across the platforms. That's a 67% increase versus last year. And it was the most watched series since the 7-game 2017 World Series, which ended with cheaters winning.
Right.
And
I saw a flashback on my Facebook where I congratulated them. That was before we knew what had happened.
Yeah. In Japan, an average of 12.1 million viewers. And this is even more. I mean, the Dodgers will be going to Japan next season to play the Cubs. So that's going to be crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. Going to be out of control because you're going to have both Shohei and Yoshi there. And then, of course, the Dodgers in general, because they're all fans of the Dodgers now. So, yeah, It's going to be pretty incredible that starting the season off for the Dodgers and their quest for back-to-back titles, which will begin next year. So now comes planning time. What do the Dodgers do? And we'll talk about that next week. We'll start getting into, because right now there's qualifying offers that need to be, will certain players be tendered or non-tendered? And then getting into the big free agency hunt, which is headlined by Juan Soto. Will he come back and be a Yankee, or will he go elsewhere?
Yeah, going back to these two teams, the Yankees, Dodgers. Aaron Boone said, "I've never seen a closer group of players, and maybe in the clubhouse, but I didn't see that in the dugout. I think in the dugout, it shows a lot. The Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw was not on any of the postseason rosters, but he was there along with Tyler Glasnow, a lot of guys, Tony Gonsolin, that were there, and they were the cheerleaders. And it was in Game 5 that Clayton Kershaw said, we just need to get one. Just need to get one. You need to get a hit, just one, and get one run. And then Kike Hernandez got that single off of Garrett Cole, and then that's what started the whole thing. And, of course, the Yankees helped them out, gave them extra outs in that inning. But it was those guys, who now you see Clayton Kershaw, who is Dodger for life, coming back next season.
Yeah, he said at the end of the parade there, they were talking to him, and he's like, there was a time when I thought about it. Now I can't imagine being anyplace else.
Yeah.
I can't see myself in any other uniform.
And, yeah, because it's always been the last few seasons, he could go to the Rangers, because it's always been a 1-year deal with him. But no, he's a Dodger for life. But it was him, that was those guys that were there, just Kevin Kiermaier, who is retiring. Daniel Hudson is retiring. They came out on top, but they were the ones that were in the dugout, excited for those guys. And probably, if you watch Clayton Kershaw, they're constantly looking at what's going on. Hey, if a ball gets away, I think that happened with Shohei in one of the games where I think it was against the Mets, but and he was at second and he was all excited. And then he looks over at the dugout and the ball had gotten away. Oh, it was. I think it was maybe it was game 1. Anyway, the ball had gotten away. And so he got it to third. But we wouldn't have probably known that if it wasn't for somebody in the dugout that hey, run. So I think the Dodgers, this is probably one of the best teams in the last few years. 2017 was a great team. What happened was super unfair. But this team, most cohesive team that I've seen with the Dodgers, just the way that they help each other out. And just like Freddie said, 12 RBIs. He said, yeah, I got 12 RBIs, but that means that some of these guys were on base. So they were helping him. So just a great camaraderie in the team. And that's what you need. And the Dodgers, as I said, that Game 5 really just was encapsulated the Dodgers season.
Well, Garrett Cole said it. He said, they don't stop. They just keep grinding. Mm-hmm. He goes, they're down, but they didn't give up. And, we're making mistakes, but they're taking advantage of those mistakes.
Exactly.
And that right there, talk about a compliment,
Yeah.
They just keep grinding. They won't go away. And that's not how it felt in Game 4, but in Game 5, as it went, you could see that they just kept staying with it. And because of that, Walker Buehler's attitude that came in, if the rest of the team's not pushing and getting to that point, then there's no Walker Buehler moment in the 9th inning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's probably, and obviously I'm biased, but that game was just awesome. And for the Dodgers to win, I am still excited that and waiting for at least one shirt to come. I'm putting some other shirts on my Christmas list, but to show off. And the funny thing is the next day was Halloween, and I, along with my colleagues, we all were different characters from the Inside Out, the second movie. And I was Sadness. And so I'm all in blue, but I'm super excited, bursting at the seams to be the Dodgers won. I got to talk about it and I got to tell you all about it. But I had to be in character the Dodgers won. Yay. But
with the wig that you had on,
that was all.
You could have been
blue.
You could have been that, or you could have been like the Mets. Oh, the Mets lost.
Yeah.
They didn't make it to the World Series like the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Another blue team.
So, yeah, just exciting. I'm excited to see, what the future holds for the Dodgers. But as you said, we will talk about all of that and more next week.
Yep. So the Dodgers will start their title defense in Japan, like you said, versus the Cubs. They also start their spring training versus the Cubs on February 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 and some odd days before pitchers and catchers report, which will be about a week prior to that game. And but they start off against the Cubs. All right, now we're getting to I guess in golf, they call this time of year where they start having those weird, like the skins game and stuff like that, the silly season. This is kind of where we're at right now, only this is the award season. And we start seeing awards coming out about, not just the main ones, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP. We start seeing the other ones come out, the all MLB team, the reliever of the year, and, a bunch of other ones that out. And we'll talk about more of those as they come out. But one of the first ones that always comes out, and this year is no exception. During the World Series, the Roberto Clemente Award winner is announced. And was it before Game 2 or Game 3?
It was Game 3. It was in New York.
Right, Game 3. And they invited this year's winner to be there for a pregame ceremony from the Kansas City Royals.
Salvador Perez.
Right, the catcher for the Royals gets it. Now he'll never be able to get it again because
nope, but he'll always be able to wear the number.
Yep. So for works and it's like community works, for charity work, stuff like that. That's what the Clemente Award's about. So Salvi Perez walks away with that this year. The other one that comes out pretty early is the Gold Gloves, or as Jana likes to say, the Golden Gloves, because I think she likes to mix it up, like baseball's best boxers.
That's right. They wear gloves on
Sure
one
enough.
hand. But so the Rawlings Gold Glove was announced, and 25% of the total selection is determined by Sabres defense index metrics, while the remaining 75% is based on votes from the 30 managers and up to 6 coaches from each team. The utility Gold Glove was determined independently through a defensive formula that is calculated by Sabre and Rawlings. So that's, that getting a utility Gold Glove is just based on your stats, not on the votes. This is an interesting group this year. 14 players who received the Gold Glove for the first time. That the matching the total from 2022 for the highest number in a single season. And additionally, this marks the 5th consecutive season with at least 10 first-time winners, extending the longest streak in the awards history. So how about this? I will read the National League, and you can do the American League honors.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, and then when I'm done with that, I'll read the American League.
No.
And you can just sit there and take a nap.
Okay. In the National League, Gold Glove winners, Patrick Bailey. This is his first Gold Glove. He's catcher for the San Francisco Giants. First baseman, Christian Walker. This is his third, and he is a Diamondback. Second base. This is a name that I had not heard. I know I've heard, but I guess I didn't really think about it. First Gold Glove, Bryce Turang of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
Third baseman of the San Francisco Giants, Matt Chapman, his 5th Gold Glove. Shortstop, and this is a highlight for this team, they don't have many, Ezekiel Tovar, his 1st Gold Glove of the Colorado Rockies. Left field of the Cubs, Ian Happ with his 3rd Gold Glove. Center fielder, Brenton Doyle, also of the Rockies. This is his 2nd Gold Glove. Right field, Saul Frelick. This is his 1st Gold Glove. And where is he from?
Milwaukee.
That's right, Milwaukee. Again, another name that I'm like, I know that name. What team? Pitcher, Chris Sale of the Braves. This is his 1st Gold Glove. And utility. First one for this guy, Jared Trujillo of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's your National League Gold Glove Award winners. And now
Nice.
on to the American League with our Angels, in-house Angels fan.
You just want to keep dragging that out, don't you?
You're an Angels fan.
I
Nothing to be
I didn't
ashamed.
say I wasn't. I've been saying that I have been, and I stand up for that every episode.
You do.
Whether I'm happy with them or not, I keep talking about them. I still hope. I mean, we're not going to talk about it this week, but who was the first trade of the offseason?
The Angels.
I don't know if they did it and timed it for the morning of the first, thinking they were going to get away with steal some thunder from the World Series champion.
Yeah.
But maybe they were. I don't know. Anyway. All right. First time winner to start off the American League at catcher from the Mariners, Cal Raleigh. He led all AL catchers in defensive runs saved. First base, awesome guitar player. Can't believe he's still playing first base for the Twins at 70, almost 80 years old. Carlos Santana.
I think that's a different Carlos.
I think so too. And but he is the oldest position player to win his first Gold Glove.
Perfect.
So worked out right. Andres Jimenez from the Guardians. I know you think I said it wrong, don't you?
No.
It's
I've
not
heard it.
Jimenez, it's Jimenez.
Yeah, if it was Jimenez, it would be a J.
Correct. Anyway, he takes it at second base. First time winner. And this guy's a superstar. If he continues to play the way he is, he will not only be in a World Series someday, but he's going to be an MVP. And that would be Bobby Witt Jr., who not only getting a Gold Glove at shortstop, won the AL batting title.
Mm-hmm.
Guy who's going to be on the free agent block this season gets his first Gold Glove.
Yeah. Albuquerque's own.
Alex Bregman. And he's, with the asterisks, but will he still be? With his third straight Gold Glove, joining former Indians legend Kenny Lofton, Stephen Kwan brings home the Gold Glove to his trophy case as a member of the Guardians. Dalton Varsho from the Blue Jays, who I think he's a guy you kind of forget about.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing the Blue Jays.
And then you hear his name all the time.
And this is his first Gold Glove, and he's been around for quite a while. From the Red Sox in right field, Wilyer Abreu walks away with his first Gold Glove, becoming the first Red Sox rookie to win a Gold Glove since former Red Sox and former Angel, Fred Lynn, did it in his rookie year in 1975. And I remember that Fred Lynn and Jim Rice. Yeah, that was quite the team. The pitcher to grab the Gold Glove is Seth Lugo from the Kansas City Royals. And the only other Royals pitcher to ever get that is Brett Saberhagen.
Ooh.
And then finally, the utility player Gold Glove goes to Dylan Moore. Played first base, second base, third base, shortstop, left field, and even played 1 inning in center field this season as he walks away. I mean, that's pretty solid when you're playing all those positions and doing it at a Gold Glove level.
Yeah, definitely.
And then coming up here on the 14th, they'll announce the Platinum Glove winners, and that is solely stats.
That's it. Yes.
That's you're looking at fielding percentage, everything. Who's the absolute top? There's a little bit of a popularity because, Juan Soto was nominated for a Gold Glove in right field, and we know he's not a Gold Glover. So congrats to all of those guys. Like I said, it is the award season. We are going to see a lot more awards. We'll talk more next week. When we start wrapping up the season, we'll take a look at both the Dodgers and the Angels, how things wrapped up. Obviously, we know for the Dodgers, it wrapped up very successfully. But now where do they go? What are things that they dealt with during the season? Or what will they try to change for next season? We'll look at the same thing with the Angels, talking about maybe changes and, off-season news that might have an effect on those teams and others. We'll talk about qualifying offers, who may or may not accept them, who got them, and more. All right, it's time to crank up some West Coast rap. Put on your Dodgers World Championship gear.
Yeah, go to our website, click the Fanatics link, and you can get it all there. And there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's not just like 2 or 3 things that you saw at the game, or even if you saw the parade. There is a bunch of, in fact, one of us got a regular T-shirt and one of us got a long sleeve T-shirt of the on-field stuff. So, lots of, it's hard when you go because it's like you just want to put everything into your basket and go. And next thing you know, it's like, I'm going to have to sell a kidney or something in order to pay for this. I'm going to have to take out a loan and, a second mortgage on somebody's house. So...
somebody's house. Yeah, lots of great gear. So, if you get like I said, I got one, and then I'm gonna, put the rest on it's like on Wheel of Fortune. I put the rest on a gift card. No, I'm put it on my Christmas list.
Or a gift card to Fanatics.
A gift card to Fanatics. And that's always a great gift that you can get from our website by clicking on the link.
Yep. Go to Twitter, Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
Next week, we will be back on schedule on Thursday. And we just have a couple more episodes. We're going to get through all of the awards. And then we'll see if we can get, like we do every year, the final episode of the year, see if we can get a Disco Turkeys update.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of updates from them. I saw that they, as always, are kind of in the running for Juan Soto.
All the big agents.
All the big agents.
It came down Disco Turkeys or Dodgers for Shohei.
Yes.
I think if Teo doesn't re-sign with the Dodgers, Disco Turkey.
Yes.
So yeah, lots there. We'll talk about. We'll see if we can get them on to finish up the season like we've has become our tradition. And sorry, there's no more baseball, but you can find reruns of the World Series and other playoff games, so you can relive the Dodgers winning or your team losing.
That's right. And at this time, always, if you just love baseball, check out Ken Burns Baseball. That's always good to watch after the season. But yeah, reliving the Dodgers. I was just watching a game the other day, and Planet Head was like, "Didn't you already watch that?" Yes, I did, and I will watch it again and again and again.
Just like your favorite movie, you can always see it over and over again, like listening to your favorite song.
That's right.
Put it on repeat and enjoy. And remember, just because the season's over doesn't mean you can't swing away.